Good morning. It's Granny B from Fort Smith, Arkansas. And this morning I am going to be giving you lots of tips and ultimately making some fried pies out of those canned apples I did a couple of weeks ago. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss all of the wonderful tips I'm going to be giving you today. The first tip I'm going to show you is, maybe you've seen this in some of my other videos, but I have a square glass microwave bottom. Someone threw away the microwave, but I went to Goodwill and found a square bottom. And I use this for a cutting board. I use it to catch drips. I just made some tea and straining the tea leaves out. I did it over this, so if I had any spills, it's easy to clean up rather than go all over the counter. And so that's my first one. My second one is, I showed you where I got 9 pints of apples the other day. And this is what I do with my leftover socks, or socks that have gone bad. This is the toe end of a sock, and I cut it there where it was getting thin, and I put socks on my jars. If you don't have enough socks, then just put a sock on every other jar. It still helps. And then this is the cuff end of a sock. So there's my apples that I canned the other day. Aren't they pretty? Because my kitchen is kind of small, I keep little jars of the cornstarch, sugar, and flour real handy and in real small jars, so that I keep them right up there. In my bigger storage, I use cans or half-gallon bottles, half-gallon jars, or whatever I can find. This was a cracker can, and this is where I keep my big store of flour. And this is how I do it. Right here on the top I have some bay leaves. The flour itself is in a plastic bag. And then I have more bay leaves in the bottom. Bay leaves keeps weevils away, so your flour stays fresh longer. I do that with my cornmeal too. Of course, I do have some I keep in the refrigerator, but sometimes refrigerator space is very precious too, so that's a good way to keep your flour without getting any bugs in it. Oh, one more tip. I'm very short. I'm only 5 foot, maybe 5'1" on a good day. And someone had said that it was hard for them to reach into the cabinet because they were short too. Well, I do keep a stool handy, but another thing I do is where I cannot reach into the second cabinet, I get a box that fits right in. And then I put a cord on it so I can pull it down, and I just pull the whole box down. And as you can see, in this box I have tea pitchers and extra coffee mugs for when company comes. So that's out of the way. I don't use it that often. But things on this shelf I can reach and do okay. So that's what I do with all of my cabinets, is I have boxes with pull cords. Okay, I think we're ready to get into the recipe. So we're going to take these canned apples, and I'm going to pour the juice off because you don't want too much juice in a fried pie. And this is the first jar that we've opened, so we have not tested these apples yet. And I'm going to pass them over to Bruce and let him do his famous grunt. People have made lots of comments on, they love to hear Bruce make his sounds, and so I accuse him of being my favorite Neanderthal.
Yeah, but it's got any germs in it, I'll get it. You don't have to worry about that.
I need to taste some too.
Mmm. Okay.
Mmm. They have a wonderful apple taste. So we're just going to cook these down for a little bit with some butter. So that's 2 pints of apples, and I'm going to put about 3 tablespoons of butter in it. Here's another tip. Now I have used these lids, and I can use them again on dry things. If I wanted to fill this with macaroni or dried peas or dried beans, I could use that same lid. But what I do once I've used one is I scratch it up a little bit, because sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if it's been used. So I scratch it up, and there will never be any excuse for me to pick up a used lid when I'm actually doing more canning. But we're going to wash these and use them again. Here's the juice that came out of those 2 pints. I'm going to put some in my tea. In the meantime, we're also going to be making a little glaze to put over these fried pies. So I'm going to go ahead and get that started. I've just got some powdered sugar here, and I'm going to put a little bit of this apple juice in it, because I'm going to make just a pour-on drizzle glaze. Can you hear my little girl growling? She wants Papa Bruce to play with her. She brought him her toy, so she wants some attention this morning. They really are jealous. They can get so jealous. And so with Papa Bruce paying attention to me, he's not paying attention to her, and she's letting him know it. Okay. We're just going to drizzle this over our fried pie before we eat them. We'll set it aside until we're ready for it. Now then, I'm going to put that in the refrigerator. Add it to anything. Mix up a cake mix with it. Drink it. Put it in fruit salad. Okay, these apples are beginning to cook some of the liquid out. I'm going to add a little bit more sugar. Here's another tip. I keep a little scoop in my sugar and flour. I'll show you later. And this is a 1/4 cup measure, so I'm just going to put a 1/4 cup in there. I think that'll probably be enough. Look at that juice. It's a little thin, but we can either cook it down some more, or we can add cornstarch. So I'm going to add the cornstarch just to show you how I do it. If it cooks down good enough, you don't need the cornstarch. But we're going to do it just to show you. In fact, I think I'll use some more of this apple juice. Just about a tablespoon of apple juice. And about a tablespoon of cornstarch. See my little cup? Stir it around good and pour it in. And then you cook it till it's clear. It goes in milky, but it becomes clear. And that's about as juicy as I want my pie, because too much juice in a fried pie will ruin it. Now you can't use this hot because it will melt your crust. So I'm going to show you another little trick on how to cool this down real fast. Okay, I've got the apples cooked. They're still bubbling. Let's put them in a thinner dish. And then I've got some ice cubes here, ice cube water. I'm going to set it down in there and just give it a stir ever so often. Of course, you could cool these off in the refrigerator and let it cool for a couple of hours. But we can do this in just a couple of minutes to where it's cool enough that it's not going to tear up your pie crust. So we'll set it aside for now and we'll start working on the pie crust. I have 2 discs of pie crust here. I did a video on big batch pie crust where we used 5 pounds of flour and 3 pounds of coconut oil, and it made 17 pie crusts. I just flattened them into discs and I stored them in a bread bag in the freezer. So we've pulled 2 of them out and they are thawed out, but we've kept them in the refrigerator so they're still cold. We'll work with one at a time.
You want me to do my rendition of Solo Mio?
No, that's fine, dear. And I think 1 pie crust will probably do for 4 for sure, but I'm thinking I can get 5 out of it. So we're going to see here. So maybe about the size of a golf ball. We'll set it aside, let it get a little soft. They don't have to be exact, but try to get them as close to the same size as possible. Okay, shape your dough into a ball and then just start flattening it with your hands. And then start rolling it out. That's pretty good. As long as it covers your palm. You can stretch it out a little bit and make it more circular. But that's a good one right there. We're going to put this on a sheet of wax paper and we're going to do the rest of these. So we'll be back in a minute. Okay, I've got 5 pie crusts rolled out here, and I've got a little parchment paper between each one of them so they'll be easy to pick up. I've got the apple filling here and it is cooled off. And now we're going to get some, I use coconut oil. I'm going to get some coconut oil in the skillet. Let it start getting heated up, and we're going to heat it until it simmers around the edge, bubbles around the edge, and that'll be hot enough. You don't want your skillet filled completely up. We're not deep frying these, we're just frying them on the half shell kind of. And you just put a little bit on half of the pie, on half of the pie crust, about like that. There. Something like that. And fold over the top, bring it to the edge, and pinch it off. Press it in with your fork because that just double guarantees that you got the edge sealed. Don't poke any holes in it or anything. But there's you a little hand pie. Another thing you can do is see how long you can hold your hand over the oil to make sure it's good and hot, and I believe it is. We're going to put the first one in. And it is sizzling. Oh man, it's already come unglued. We'll have to be real careful with that one because we don't want any stuff falling into our grease.
That one will be coming over to my side.
Yeah, Bruce will be getting that one. As a matter of fact, can you see this, honey? Can you get a picture of that?
Yeah.
Because that is now open, I don't want to flip it and take a chance of messing up my grease. So I'm going to do a fix. You can pick up this hot grease and put it over the top like this, seal it off a little bit. And if I can make sure I've got a good seal there, then I'll go ahead and do it. And it does look like it's going to seal pretty good. But we're still going to do this one by itself to start with. Because I don't want to take any chances. Look at that crust beginning to blister. You know that's going to be tender. We're going to put these on paper towels. Okay, Bruce said he'd eat that one. We're going to put another one in and get another one going. I could edit that out, but I'm going to leave it in there just so you see that we have, those of us who make YouTube videos on how to cook, we have disasters happen once in a while too. But can you recover from it? We just did. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's all I'm going to do on the camera. I do have another pie crust over here, and so we're going to assume that we're going to get 5 more out of it. And we did use approximately half of our apple filling. So 1 pie crust to 1 pint of apples will do it. Now, I did this with real pie crust. You can also do it with biscuit crust. You can do it with canned biscuits. You can do it with croissant, poppin' fresh croissants. I've even seen people do it with tortillas. And so, just for fun, I'm going to do one with tortillas today. This is, I get this from Aldi's. It's the Fit and Active low-carb tortillas with as much fiber. They bumped up the fiber in it. Yeah. They bumped up the fiber in it, so the net carbs is only 4 net carbs. And so I'm going to try it, but my grease is too hot. I'm going to give it just a minute to cool down. In the meantime, I'm going to drizzle these with some of this drizzling sauce. You could also just put this in a little bowl and serve it to someone with a little bowl where they can just dip their apple pie in there. So there you go. There's that. All right. I'm going to try one of these tortillas. I do like these tortillas of course, I'm trying to be low carb, and it does come in handy if you wanted a sandwich or a taco or anything, and you feel a little bit better about it. This is bigger than I want, so I'm going to trim it off. But you can make chips with this, so it doesn't go to waste. I would think, using a tortilla, I would need to do some egg white or something to seal that off. We'll see what we can just do with water. We just about used up all of our oil, so that's good. Okay. So there's the low-carb tortilla. And we're going to undo all the good that low-carb tortilla did us by sprinkling some of this sweet sauce on it. But that's okay. If you're going to cheat, you might as well cheat all the way. So, let's do a taste test and see what we think. I can't even tell which one was Bruce's now. So
I can if you just... That one.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay. There's the one that Bruce said was his. So, you want it in a paper towel?
Sure.
That one?
Yeah, that'd be.
Okay. Here he goes. First taste test.
Mm.
I think that's the grunt of approval.
Better than store-bought.
I'm going to take one of these chips and dip it in there. Oh, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I really want to eat this one because it's a tortilla, but it's still too hot. So I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to choose one of these, break it in two. Oh my goodness.
Mm.
Can you see that
Mm-hmm.
delicious goodness in there? Mmm. I agree with Papa Bruce. This is better than any one that you can buy at the store. Very good. Thank y'all for watching. It's been Granny B's recipe. Take it and make it your own. Thank you.